The old car rolled down a deserted highway, its headlights slicing through the thick darkness. The world outside was silent, as if the night itself was holding its breath. It was late, June 6, 2025. The digital clock glowed faintly on the dashboard, marking the slow passage of time. Neela drove alone, darkness pressing in from every side, making the car feel like a fragile bubble of light in a sea of black. Trees loomed on both sides, their branches arching overhead, shadows swallowing the road and blurring the edges of her vision. The moon was a thin sliver, hidden by clouds, offering no comfort or guidance from above. Neela's hands tightened on the wheel, knuckles pale as she tried to steady her breathing. She had hours left to drive, the road stretching endlessly ahead, each mile feeling longer than the last. The radio played static, then silence, as if even the airwaves had abandoned her to the night. The quiet inside the car felt suffocating, broken only by the occasional creak of the old vehicle. Only the engine's hum kept her company, a low, steady sound that seemed to echo her own anxious heartbeat. Headlights caught the white lines vanishing into blackness, as if the road was being swallowed by the night itself. A knot twisted in her stomach, tiredness or something else she couldn't quite name. She wished the night would end, longing for the first hint of dawn to break the spell of darkness. A chill crept through the car, making her shiver despite the windows being closed. Neela checked the windows, closed tight, her fingers lingering on the lock as if reassurance could keep the night at bay. She pulled her jacket close, uneasy, wishing for warmth and comfort that wouldn't come. The feeling of being watched prickled her skin, a sensation that made her glance at the rear-view mirror more than once. She told herself it was just nerves, the product of too many hours alone in the dark. But the sensation lingered, heavy and real. The night felt endless, and every shadow seemed to move just out of sight, as if the darkness itself was alive and watching her. Neela kept driving, but the unease grew. The air inside turned icy, colder than outside. A strange chill settled over her. Then, a faint smell, dust and wilted flowers. Neela wrinkled her nose, glancing around. The dashboard lights glowed, everything looked normal. The passenger seat was empty. The back seat was lost in shadow. She whispered, "It's just my imagination." Her voice sounded small, swallowed by silence. She glanced at the rearview mirror, just to check. Her heart thudded faster. Why was she so nervous? It was just a mirror. She forced herself to look. In the glass, something was wrong. Her blood ran cold. It wasn't her own reflection. Someone else was there. In the mirror, a face stared back at her, pale and unfamiliar, sending a chill down Neela's spine. It wasn't Neela's reflection at all. It was the face of a pale old woman, her features drawn and haunting. The woman sat silently in the back seat, her skin so thin it seemed almost translucent, her presence chilling the air. Wisps of white hair clung to her scalp, and her dress was dark, old-fashioned, as if she'd stepped out of another era entirely. Neela froze, her hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white, breath caught in her throat. The woman's eyes were impossibly wide, dark and unblinking, as if she could see straight through Neela's soul. She stared straight at Neela, her face completely expressionless, lips pressed into a thin, unmoving line. The temperature in the car seemed to drop, the air growing colder and heavier with every passing second. Neela wanted to scream, to call for help, but her voice was trapped, strangled by terror. How had this woman gotten inside? The doors were locked, the windows rolled up tight. This couldn't possibly be real. The woman didn't move, didn't blink, she just watched, her gaze fixed and unyielding. Fear clawed at Neela's chest, her heart thundering as panic threatened to overwhelm her. She knew she couldn't just sit there paralyzed. She had to do something, anything to break the spell. But first, she had to know if what she was seeing was real or just a trick of her frightened mind. Forcing herself to move, Neela slowly turned in her seat, every muscle tense with dread. The air inside the car was thick with dread, pressing in on her from all sides, making it hard to breathe. She spun in her seat, heart pounding so loudly she could hear it echo in her ears, fear and adrenaline surging through her veins. Was the woman really there, or was Neela trapped in a nightmare of her own making? Neela slammed the brakes, car screeching to a stop. She ripped off her seatbelt and spun around. The back seat was empty, no old woman, just shadows. The cold lingered, but the watcher was gone. Neela's breath came in ragged gasps. She whispered, "I saw her, I know I did." Was she losing her mind? The silence pressed in, terrifying. She reached out, touched the seat, cold but empty. No sign anyone had been there. Alone, Neela leaned back, trying to steady her heart. The road outside was still and black. She tried to think, to calm herself. Neela opened her eyes, needing to be sure she was truly awake. The silence inside the car pressed in on her, thick and heavy, as if the darkness itself was holding its breath. Her heart thudded in her chest, echoing in the confined space. She looked up at the rearview mirror, her breath catching as she searched for any sign of movement behind her. The old woman was there again, in the glass only, her presence impossible yet undeniable. Pale face, dark eyes, fixed on Neela with an intensity that made her skin crawl. A ghost in the mirror, not in the car. Neela stared, frozen, unable to look away, her hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles whitened. The woman's lips curled into a slow, cold smile as if she knew a secret Neela could never guess. It was not kind, it was knowing, chilling, a smile that promised nothing good. Her eyes glittered as the smile widened, reflecting a cold amusement that sent a shiver down Neela's spine. The old woman lifted a long, pale finger, her movements deliberate and eerily graceful. She pointed, not at Neela but forward, her gesture slow and unwavering, as if urging Neela to look ahead, toward the dark road ahead where the unknown waited in the shadows beyond the headlights. The smile stayed, terrible and wide, stretching impossibly across her face as if it might split her skin. The image shimmered, fading like mist, but the sense of being watched did not leave. Still watching, still pointing, the ghostly figure lingered at the edge of sight. Neela's heart pounded as the ghostly presence lingered, her breath shallow, her mind racing with fear and questions she dared not ask aloud. The night was not over. Outside the world was silent, but inside the car, terror thrummed in the air. The road stretched on, endless and uncertain, and the watcher remained, her presence a chilling promise that the journey was far from finished.